Hello everybody, it's another beautiful day. The birds are blowing, the wind is chirping, and I feel like cooking something. Woo-hoo, let's do this. Hey, hello everybody. Someone asked me to make some peach cobbler. Well, here it is. The peaches are in season, and here we go. We're gonna do it. Okay, first of all, you need approximately 4 peaches. Now, these peaches here were like 89 cents a pound. They're not the really fancy type peaches. They were cheap. But when you're cooking, you don't really need the best peaches. You know, just get some peaches. Don't matter what they are. All right, anyway, 89 cents a pound, man, you can't beat it. All right, so what you're going to do is you're going to cut an X into the peaches, and then you're going to put them in boiling water for about 45 seconds. Then take them out, and now you're going to peel them. Now look, if you're using canned peaches, just forget this whole step, you know. But we'll get to that later. But anyway, now you're going to peel them, and you're going to put them back into that water to cook them for a little bit, for, I don't know, 8 to 10 minutes, something like that. But you don't want to cook them on a real high boil. You just want to, you know, right below boiling, you want to put them in. I'll show you here later. All right. So anyway, here we are. We're peeling them. These peaches weren't quite ripe, so the pit was not easy to get out, as you will see. The pit, you know, I had to work at getting them out. Like I said, if you're using canned peaches, you don't need to know any of this, but this is much better than canned peaches, if you ask me. Anyway, so there we go. I got them almost all peeled, and now we're going to work on getting the pit out and cutting them up. All right, okay. Now, we still have to cook them for approximately 10 minutes. You know, once you get the pit out of there, then you're going to cut them into wedges, and then you, like I say, we're going to cook them not boiling. We're just going to, right below a boil, you put them in with some sugar in the water and just let them, you know, simmer, kind of. You know what I mean? You don't want them boiling a real hard boil. That's going to just break them apart. Actually, this recipe calls for 2 cups of sugar, but forget it. I used not even 1/4 of a cup of sugar, and the rest was stevia. So here, I'll show you when it's coming up. Don't worry. Okay, now we're going to slice them into wedges. Going to put them back in that bowl. That dish. If you put them into the dish you're going to cook them in, then you have an idea of, you know, how much you'll fit in there and, you know, everything else. Okay, so there we go. All right, now they're going to go into about, I'm going to say about a cup, a little bit more than a cup of water that's sweetened with stevia. There's no sugar in that water. Okay, now also the recipe calls for 1 stick of butter. Forget it, that's ridiculous. I'm using a half a stick of butter. You know, you got to remember, when this stuff was created back in the day, you know, these guys would eat a stick of butter. But that's just way too much. That's it's crazy. All right, now here comes the cobbler itself. Here's 1 cup of milk. It's going to be 1 cup of self-rising flour and 1 cup of sugar. But again, I'm not using a cup of sugar. I'm going to use less than 1/4 cup of sugar, and the rest will be made up with stevia. And it came out perfect, believe me. There's nothing wrong with it. Okay, so there's self-rising flour. Now, if you don't have self-rising flour and you use all-purpose, that's not a problem. Just put in 1 cup of all-purpose flour, and then put in 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, there's all the sugar I'm putting in. You can see that. It's less than 1/4. And then I'm going to make up the rest with the stevia, which is right here. There it goes. All right, so it's very little sugar. And the peaches are boiling in stevia. They're not boiling in sugar. All right. So anyway, like I said, if you don't have all-purpose, I mean, if you don't have self-rising, use all-purpose, but use 1 teaspoon of salt and 2 teaspoons of baking powder. Okay, now this in here is 1 cup of milk, 1 cup of self-rising, and 1 cup of sugar or sugar substitute. Now it's a little bit thin, so I added a little bit more flour. It should be the consistency of, oh, and a little bit of salt. That's way too much in my hand. There you go. I mean, it's only a pinch of salt. The consistency should be about like pancake batter. You know, I mean, this recipe here isn't rocket science. You know, you can add more or less, you know. Okay, so now I have a half a stick of butter in that dish. Now I'm going to add the cobbler to the butter, but do not mix it. Don't mix it. Just add it in. That's it. Leave it alone. That's all you do right there. Now, the peaches that are on the stove in the hot water, they're just going to be added to the cobbler. Here it comes. Watch. Okay. All right. Now, also in that water that the peaches are in, there's also some stevia in there. I don't know how much. Maybe half a cup. You know, just to give them a little sweetness. Okay, so you add this right on top. There you go. Don't mix. Don't mix anything. Just leave it alone. Just keep putting that stuff on top of there. Okay. All right. Perfect. Oh, baby. Oh, mama. This is good stuff, I'm telling you. Whoo. Now you can add a little juice. If you like your cobbler wet, add the whole thing of juice. You know? I mean, it doesn't matter. The cobbler is going to cook as long as you didn't mix it with anything. Just leave it alone. Don't mix anything in. And it'll cook by itself. Don't worry. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of cinnamon on the top. This is optional. You don't need this. I mean, you don't have to do this. A little bit of cinnamon. There you go. And a little bit of nutmeg. See, this is the cool thing about this dessert, is you can add anything you want. You know, you could put dried cranberries. You know, of course, if you soak them first, you know, it'd be better. You could put, I mean, man, it's just endless. You can do whatever you want. Now, here goes a little bit of nutmeg. You could use ground nutmeg if you want. I happen to have the whole nutmeg, so I kind of, you know, use it on the zester thing, and it grinds it up. That's what the whole nutmeg looks like. And the zester, there you go. Okay, don't add too much, though. You know, you don't want to overpower it. You just want some little bit of back flavor. Okay, now, it's Florida, and it's a summertime, and I don't want to heat up the whole house. So I put it in the toaster oven at 350 for about 35 minutes. And this is what happened. Look at this. Ooh, baby. This stuff really, this is really good. Especially if you take a blob of ice cream, put that in there. Oh, man. It doesn't get any better than that. I'm serious. There it is. And that was cooked in the toaster oven at 350 for approximately 35 minutes. Now, you know, check it at 20 minutes and see what's going on. But listen, I got to tell you, you might find this someplace else around town, but you won't find it any better than this. I got to go. I got to eat.